This is More Knowledge, More Wealth with your host, Gabriel Shahin. Gabriel is a certified financial planner and a registered investment advisor at Falcon Wealth Planning. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this broadcast and does not represent that the services or securities discussed are suitable for any investor. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the broadcast in the process of making a full informed investment decision. Now here's your host, Gabriel Shahin.
Good day. This is Gabriel Shahin, certified financial planner and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. My job is to go over the knowledge you need to increase your wealth. Now, to the listener, you can always reach out to myself or any one of our colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can go on our Knowledge Center, which gives you a direct link to YouTube, where we've had well over 1 million views, multiple videos that help answer the questions that you have. And if you want to put an inquiry so we can talk about it on the show or create a Knowledge Center video, please send your inquiry to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. And also you can go get this episode, any one of our previous episodes on Spotify, podcasts, you name it, folks. Now, I'm the president of Falcon Wealth Planning. We are a fee-only, non-commission, true fiduciary, folks. And we talk about all important topics of personal finance. That's where you are today, how retirement looks like, investments, estate planning, insurance, folks, you name it. Anything that involves a dollar sign, we can help you with. And we are offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time, folks, at no cost to help relate this show to your specific situation. And we have offices all across the country that we can help you with. Folks, give us a buzz. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird, or we can help answer those questions that you have to help with your financial situation. Well, boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. It is November 2nd, folks. What does that mean? We got the elections coming right around the corner, November 5th. Here we come. We're going to have President Trump, or we're going to have new President Kamala Harris. We're going to find out here. But man, are we feeling uncomfortable about this, right? Sure, the polls say Trump's maybe ahead. Okay, well, but what's going to actually happen? You got two extreme sides here that are coming at it, and they're not slowing down. Now, what else is going on about these elections, right? What else outside of just I don't like Trump or I don't like Harris? Outside of that, there are some serious things going on that are on everybody's mind, and I'm going to talk probably about 50 of them. But before we even do that, I need everybody to always remember when people freaked out that Biden won, guess what the stock market did? It went up after he won. And we're talking like shortly after he won. President Trump back in 2016, when he became president, people freaked out about it. Some were excited, some were not. Guess what the stock market did again? It went up. Heck, it was down a lot intraday, like in the midnight, 2, 3 a.m. But as the day started getting closer to the stock market opening, it actually ended up that day and continued to soar. What else happened? Same thing with Biden. Same thing with President Obama. Same thing when he came in 2009. The market started recovering because that was after the Great Recession. Heck, even President Bush, right, he got inaugurated during the techwreck.com bubble. What happened? 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, everything was booming during that time. So do not mix politics with your investments, because are you still going to go to work? Think about it. If you're an engineer, are you still going to go and do your engineering work the next day? Come Wednesday, are you just going to stop eating? Stop checking your phone? Stop making calls? Stop going on the internet? You get what I'm saying? It's not going to matter. We may not feel as good about certain things, depending on who's president, but the direct impact on you is limited. Direct impact. Even if they have policies that you agree with or disagree with, you have little impact on your day-to-day living. Very few people are directly impacted of who is president. And even then, guess what happens? You adapt. That's why some people move states. That's why some people move countries. That's why certain businesses raise their fees. That's why certain businesses have different supplies, technology, and products they sell. Because of the adapting nature of how everything works. We are survivors. We are humans. We know how to move. And I'm going to talk about some of the core items that's probably on your mind of who are you thinking about who should be president. And the things that are making you emotional, making you angry, making you mad. And then on the second segment of this show, I'm then going to just choose 6 of these 50 topics to go into detail on. I can literally talk the whole month about this, doing an episode every single day on every single one of these topics. We just don't have time for that. And do you really care? Like, who am I to give you my opinion of who's I want to vote with, who I want to vote on? I'm here to tell you I know finance. I know it well. And sure, there are some clear economic policies on President Trump that make sense. That makes it clear from an economic point of view would be more beneficial to America. That is clear. But there are other factors that I'll go into that will explain to you not everything is based on money. So we're going to talk about that here right now. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host on More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we're just talking about the topics for your political consideration. Because I don't care if you feel they're mean or nice or smart or stupid, experienced, not experienced, done good things, done bad things. I don't care about any of that. Because one of these two are going to be president. And what you need to know is all the different topics that are upsetting people. So let's go over what these are. For example, number 1 is vaccines. People are having issues with that, right? They're mad still about the COVID-19. By the way, we're in 2024, almost 2025, but the COVID-19 vaccine that they forced upon us. Obamacare, equality of people entering our country. Educational costs are continuing to rise. Taxes. You got unrealized capital gains and a few other crazy stuff that are on the table. And just know that our current tax system is scheduled to end in 2025. Whoever is our new president is going to be the one that's going to have to enforce some of these new policies because, yet again, our taxes are going to change, whether you like it or not, come 2026. You have abortion. You have LGBTQ stance. You have personal identity. You have the general economy, right? Stock market's doing one thing. You have our national debt at almost $36 trillion. Heck, in the past 7 days, almost $500 billion of new debt has been accumulated. You have inflation. You have high rates. A lot of things that are going on. Immigration. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier about the quality of people entering the country. Crypto. You got the billionaires that are out there. You got and some people wanting to tax those. You have capitalism in general starting to be potentially in question. You have the safety of our country. You got foreign affairs here. You got war going on in Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Palestine, in Lebanon. I mean, you got issues happening in China. You have foreign affairs relationships going on with, obviously, naturally, Russia and China and India and France and UK and Germany. But there's a lot going on right there. Wouldn't you say? We just discussed inflation, interest rates on the overall economy, but these are specific topics that need to be addressed itself. You have sanctuary cities. You have photo ID for elections and voting. Voting fraud, voting verification. You have people supporting wars here and some people against them. You have capital gains taxation, not just the unrealized, but just in general. People wanting to tax those even higher depending on how much you make. You have Social Security still underfunded. Come 2034, and the new reports show, we're only going to be able to afford only paying out 75 cents on the dollar. you're getting $2,000 a month, it's only going to be $1,500 a month. Over 50% of Americans need that to live. It's their majority of their income. You have welfare systems that are out there. Some of them are being abused on a consistent basis. You have health care, which is different than Obamacare because you have health care that's coming through forms of Medicaid. And some people are now getting upset because now you have some illegals that are participating in this as well. You have the education costs. I mean, those right there are still problematic on education. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but we're talking now about the education quality is truly diminishing, maybe because of AI involvement. And people are feeling, because of the cost so high, is that they may not need to go into education as much as they felt 10 years ago, because they've just been such a business. It really took the logic of going to school just doesn't make as much sense as it used to be. The longevity of life, people are living longer, want to be living longer. They want to make sure our earth is cleaner, which makes us healthier. The use of technology and AI, infrastructure in our country. Heck, you got multiple bridges and roads around the country that are significantly underdeveloped and at risk of falling. You have population decline. You have a married couple has 2.1 kids. Well, guess what? Not everybody gets married. When you have 2.1 kids, that just replaces you and your spouse. You get what I'm saying? You got innovation, you got privacy, you got hackers now, the rise. So you're not getting mugged as much. Well, it depends where you are. People in Los Angeles and New York and San Francisco would argue with me. But a lot of the crimes are now digital crimes, taking your social security number, your date of birth, your address, your banking info. You have criminal race theory. You have freedom of guns, freedom of speech. You have surveillance. Where some people feel they're no longer free anymore because of that. You have criminal activity heads on the rise. You have religious freedom. You have transgender athletes. You have Medicaid. You have decriminalization of drugs, prescription costs, DEI. You got foreign spending, USA and the UN, if they're going to stay in the UN. You have hydraulic fracking. You have women and men equal pay. You have taking money from the rich, which I get it. Everybody should pay their fair share. But heck, top 10% of taxpayers pay 90% of the taxes. You have universal basic income. You have housing costs, homelessness, energy crisis, nuclear energy, national security, terrorism, AI, facial recognition, transportation issues, emissions control, global warming, climate change, and euthanasia. Guys, so much to talk about. Every single one of these are controversial. You know how I know they are? Bring it up during Thanksgiving. Any one of those topics. Woo! You know how they say don't bring politics and religion? Good luck with that. But what I want to do, I want to come back. I'm going to focus on 6 core topics. And I want to talk about economic impact that it has, because it does in fact matter to an extent, but it doesn't matter in the way you think it is. It's going to destroy the economy. It doesn't look at it that way. The way you should be looking at it is the impact it's going to have on you. And I get there is a trickle effect, but remember, companies are in business to make money. Don't forget that. We'll be right back after a few words. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner and President of Falcon Wealth Planning. We wanted to offer you a free financial assessment for listening to the show so you can help relate it to your specific situation. We offer multiple services such as retirement planning, where you are today, how retirement looks like, talking about Social Security, real estate, planning, even if you own a business, talking about taxes, not just how to save money today, but also throughout retirement. Talk about investments, making sure you're avoiding those high fees, costs, commissions. And also estate planning and insurance, just making sure you're properly protected if, God forbid, something were to happen. And we're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost. Give us a call. We would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, and fill out the form fill right there on our site. We would love to help you in your financial situation. We look forward to serving you. Welcome back, folks. We got political season here right around the corner. We got just a few days from now. We are going to be voting. Somebody like myself already actually voted. I mailed that puppy in weeks ago. But the idea is this. When they used to say one person matters, every vote matters, I get it. It does. And everything matters based on the first segment of the 50-plus items that I went over. It all matters. But in regards to your finances, in regards to you continuing to work, in regards to the quality of life that you're going to have, there's two sides to this. There's truly economic impact that's there. That's number one. Number two is the core impact this has on your investment portfolio. Now, there are some core things that does affect our economy. I'm not here to say it doesn't. So yes, obviously it matters who's the president of the United States, or I wouldn't care to vote. All I'm saying is don't let it impact of how you invest your money. The way you should invest your money is long term. It's for 10, 20, 30 years from now. 30 years from now, heck, what are we talking about? We're talking, what, 7, 8 presidents from now? We're talking, what, 15 Congresses from now? Like, who cares about what's going to happen recently? Because if you're investing that money long term, nobody cares. But there are core strategies I want to discuss, core situations, core, we'll call it controversial topics that you need to understand why it's controversial. And I want to start off with one of the biggest ones of immigration. And it's funny how both kind of parties here have now addressed there is an issue with this. But there isn't an issue with immigrants. The biggest issue is with illegal immigrants and non-vetting illegal immigrants. Let's just ignore the fact of paying for those detained illegals who want sex change operations that America has to pay for. Let's just not even discuss that because that's a bit extreme. But the core immigration is America is built on immigrants. Yeah, let's not forget that. America is built, and that's why freedom of religion and freedom of speech is so important here, is because we are built on allowing people to come to our country. We just want to do it in a controlled fashion. We need more immigrants to maintain the growth of our country. If you take a look, 40 years ago, our population was about 220 million. We're currently at about 360 million. That's about a 50% increase in our population. That would not have been possible without immigration. Now, you have certain countries that America has relations with that they can come to America fairly quickly. Other countries have to wait 10, 15 years to go through the visa and immigration process. So, yes, I can understand why some people are very upset. Some immigrants, most immigrants, are upset about the illegal immigration that is happening south of our border. But we need those people for everyday jobs. As we're getting more educated, as we're getting more experience, more skilled, as we're developing in our careers, we need those lower skilled labor jobs. We have to. And we're seeing that issue right now in my home state of California, where now they're having minimum wage at $20 an hour for fast food workers, for some fast food workers. Well, the problem is what now? Well, now our cost for a hamburger is that much more, number one. Number two, it's hard for me to even talk to somebody when I go to a McDonald's. Why? Because they're on this electronic screen that never takes my coupons when I punch it in, as my kids want a Happy Meal. So there is a byproduct issues when they're trying to push initiatives to make sure that everybody gets higher pay. And how about this? If you're trying to, especially for these low-skilled jobs, if you are deploying money to those who do not come here legally, then you are letting down our people that are here legally. I believe in very much in reinvesting in lower income, to pull out of poverty, to put them in schools, to give them scholarship and grant money. I believe strongly in that. It is necessary to be successful. But the idea that we often see is it's not taken advantage of. The knowledge level isn't there for that type of activity. And that's part of the issues that we're seeing. Number two, I want to talk about taxes. Guys, like taxes, I get it. Nobody likes taxes. But taxes are going to sunset here in 2026. 2025 is the last year that our current tax system stays the same. It has to change. Now, most likely it's going to go up. It says it's going to go up. Okay, so some people are upset about this already. People are talking about changing corporate taxes. Listen, I get it. If it changes, it goes up, I get it. That's a form of fiscal policy which causes even more inflation. They're just going to up their costs to us. And we do have to give control to some control. We can't fully control our businesses because then we lose our form of capitalism. So we have to be able to have that balance there. But there should be other ways to be able to control our spending and our income. Right now, we can argue that our spending is through the roof here in America, which leads to regulation. It's crazy. Our church is building a social hall, guys. We're fundraising. It's a big project. We're super excited for it. I am absolutely shocked the amount of time it takes just to build a fence. Like, are you kidding me? The over-regulation that's required? There's recent studies that said it's costing the economy over $300 billion. There are some studies that say it's costing $3 trillion. Something that should take 6 to 12 months to make is taking 18 to 36 months. Are you kidding me? That makes no sense at all. And that's just in building. What about our Congress? What about all the different types of entities that regulate stuff? That makes no sense to me at all. But yet again, here we are. And then, of course, you got regulation. What? You got people being thrown in jail for doing a mean tweet? Listen, I'm on social media all the time. Some of those tweets and comments are brutal. I mean, bad. Like, who raised these people? Like, these are evil people commenting on some stuff that I'm saying. Like, terrible stuff. But, man, to throw them in jail? Like, what happened to freedom of speech? Like, I get it. I get offended. But I shouldn't be on this platform if I easily get offended. Or if it offends me so much, I'm going to stop. Because for every one idiot, we got 10 smart people. So I don't care about the one idiot. I care about the 10 people that appreciate what I'm doing. Crazy that our overregulation is taking such an extreme approach. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend, talk about all important topics of personal finance. The fourth thing I want to discuss with you is the war that's currently going around our country and just us feeling safe, right? Obviously, we have our own safety issues. We've seen homelessness. That's a problem. Some areas that we normally thought were very safe, we're starting to see more and more unsafe and crimes happening. But in regards to actual war, obviously we see what's happening in Israel and Palestine and Lebanon. You know, a lot of that has to go with Hamas and Hezbollah. You have the Ukraine. You have Russia. You feel like there's a lot of unsettling things happening. With social media, you are seeing everything that's happening there. And I know there are multiple sides to this. And all I'm saying is we can all agree, surely, that this is not what anybody wants. I mean, on all sides. Everybody wants peace. And so right now, the unsettling fact is where America used to jump in and take charge, right, wrong, or indifferent. It was a decisive state where America felt we were in control. We don't feel we're in control right now. And that, of course, is an issue. And us as Americans don't like instability. We like control. Say what we want, but we want control. Next part I want to discuss is just the good old equality, right? We've seen this in DEI, diversity, inclusion, equity and inclusion. We've seen all of this, and just equal pay, men and women. Listen, America is, remember, if all men are created equal, right? I think the issue that people are having problems with is not every person starts off at the same level. And I get that. And I don't think we should penalize those who were here earlier, right? I'm first generation American. My parents were not born in this country. I'm not asking for a situation to give me an advantage or a head start. That just means I have to work harder. And we see that with some athlete clients that we have. You know, it's crazy. When their parents were athletes, they trained their kids to be better. If they weren't athletes, if their parents weren't athletes, they have to work that much harder because they're the ones pushing themselves because they don't have the right direction to go into. We're not going to tell a LeBron James to say, take it easy on the ones that are not as good as them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that in regards to equality, I do feel that there are certain attributes that have to be looked at. There are certain mentalities that are important to making a decision that suits everybody. But I want to say it's extremely important that we always know that it's a democracy, not a dictatorship. Just because somebody has a very strong stance on something, it doesn't mean everybody has to listen and abide by that. If that 1% is causing 90% of the problems, it's okay to say, you know what, we respect your opinion, but we're kind of focusing on the 90%. We're not going to offend our 90% to accommodate the 1%. Stances like that is where you see the go broke. It's stances like that that upset the mass of the client base. It doesn't make sense to make stances like that from an economic point of view. It's important to include everybody. I hope, and I'm learning, I'm a bit naive at things. I'm learning that. I had some personal things happen to me where I'm just like, I'm too good of a guy. I don't realize there's another side of it where not everybody thinks like me. So I do understand the awareness is needed. But at the same time, I want to make sure that everybody also knows that the stance that some companies are making are trying to accommodate their core client base. And do not get upset at them for doing that. Mind your own personal preference. Let them have their own personal opinion. And if it's something that doesn't align with yours, we are blessed with multiple options. By the way, in regards to the regulation, I forgot to say about surveillance and costs more money and so on. But the final piece is the economy. We are a strong capitalist country. You have an idea, you move forward in that idea, you will get rewarded for that idea. I do not see that ever changing. I see certain stances where they're saying maybe there shouldn't be somebody making so much money, but if you remove the motivation for people to be successful, then they just will stop and be content. You will ruin the intellectual freedom, the intellectual motivation, and the financial incentives of doing great things. You know, I used to work at TD Ameritrade back in the day, which is now bought out from Charles Schwab. Over in Canada, how come we don't talk about Canada being such a great powerhouse economy? Well, outside of the fact they have a smaller population than the state of California, they have these monopoly rules. And TD stands for Toronto Dominion. They have a bank. And TD Bank had 30% market share, and the government's like, sorry, you can't grow anymore. Like, that's crazy to me. That's why they started to expand in the Northeast, where you see a lot of TD banks on the East Coast. It's because they started expanding there. And so it's just crazy to me that somebody would say, no, you have grown too much. If it's a superior, amazing product, maybe like an Apple phone, maybe like the Microsoft system setup, whatever the case is, it's crazy. A monopoly is truly like the oil business, where one person controlled 100% of the supply for everybody. But you're not forced to use an Apple phone. You have many options to choose from. You're not forced to use AT&T. You have other providers to choose from. You're not forced by your cable company for the TV. You can now do YouTube video, and you could do Spectrum. You could do Verizon for Fios, so whatever the case is. Frontier. The idea is this. There are so many important topics that are happening right now that is going to impact what's going to happen in the future in the economy. With that being said, the economy always survives. It will always find a way to do well. Always. It will. Even if there's long terms of negative returns, it's fine. The market will find a way to survive, just like you and I. No matter any negative thing that happens, if somebody cut off your right arm today and you're right-handed, that's problematic. You will find a way to survive. Over time, you will naturally learn how to use your left hand. You'll naturally learn how to survive. No matter how bad that first 30 or 60 or 90 days will be with cutting off your right arm, you will still survive. I'm not suggesting anything outside of the fact of the elections are coming. Vote responsibly. There, to you, is a right and a wrong candidate. Please take it upon yourself based on what makes sense to you, based on your history, based on what you feel you know. But you know what is more important than that, in my opinion, is the propositions in your local states. Please give that the attention as it deserves. There are situations and times those propositions are more important than who's president, because that has a direct impact on you, on your property taxes, on what you feel is right, and what you feel is fair. That was a fast show, folks. I want to thank you for tuning in with us this weekend. You can always reach out to myself or any one of our colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can go and visit our Knowledge Center, which redirects you to YouTube. We have over 1 million views, folks. And if you want us to discuss anything on YouTube, on the show, whatever, send your inquiry to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. And if you want this episode, any one of our previous episodes, you can go on podcast, Spotify. We have them all there. And folks, we want to thank you for your trust. We want you to feel free and feel comfortable to reach out with any questions that you have.